Hi guys, welcome back to August Love Story, the channel. My name is Artieka.
I'm Tommy.
And today we are reviewing Married at First Sight, Season 14, Episode 14. And that episode is titled Just a Blip.
I was like, you sure that's what we doing?
What you mean?
You like paused a little bit.
If you guys haven't already, please take a minute to subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notification bell, and I guess we're reviewing.
Let's do it.
So my first couple that I wrote down was Katina and Elijah.
All right.
Let's see. While they're talking as a couple after everybody arrived. Okay, I forgot to mention that. We're at the couples retreat.
Yeah.
It's in Vermont. That's about all I got. I don't know what
man,
city
by the time
Vermont.
we make it to this part of the season, it's almost like, man, you kind of like tired of the season.
Absolutely. I don't know at what point I got tired, but I know it was well before episode 14.
I don't know what it is about this season that, like, for the couples, they haven't really been intriguing a lot.
So for me, this season's couples are dragging out non-issues and not talking about real issues. Yeah. And that's been the thing for me.
For you, yeah.
Like, I don't even know where to start with this. Like, this couple, Katina and Elijah, he's dragging out the you don't know how to cook issue, but he's not realizing that he's an emotional abuser.
Right. He's not really hearing what she has said about abuse, being verbally abused in her previous relationships. And I feel like with anybody going into any type of relationship, that's the first thing, like some of the things that you talk about, those are the things that you're kind of more like cautious with. Mm-hmm. Like if somebody said, hey, I had a very traumatic experience in the car one time. And so now when I get in the car, I get kind of antsy or, you know, it makes me feel a type of way. I would imagine that in a new relationship, the first thing you're doing is being cautious and careful in a car to gain that person's trust.
And not even like tiptoeing around stuff, but just
you're
being
careful.
Cautious.
Yeah, you're just being cautious with the situation. But for him, no, it's my way or no way.
And he's just like Lindsay in that regard, but we ain't talking about them yet.
Yeah.
So he says that this is the first relationship where he hasn't had to be a leader. I want to be like, sir, when were you in relationships? Because when we first started, you were like, I've never really been in relationships. I was just smashing past.
I'm pretty sure he's been in some type of relationship. They just haven't been.
His third grade girlfriend don't count.
Black women.
I don't know.
The one thing I noticed about Elijah when they first got there, or I guess it was the next day or the night of they got there, the men were cooking, and Elijah was just pretty much a taste tester.
Cause he don't know how to cook.
That's the most. That's
salt, pepper, barbecue sauce, ribs.
That has been the most upsetting thing, because at least if I'm like pushing for you to cook, I'm going to at least be able to cook. I
shouldn't be upset about you not having a skill set that I also don't have.
Right.
That would be like me being upset with you saying, I've never mowed the grass before. And I'm like, you should know how to mow the grass. And I'm like, I ain't never mowed the grass before myself. Yeah. Like, what are we doing
but
here?
I feel like as a spouse, you don't point out the flaws in that manner. Now, if it's a matter of you can't cook and not willing to learn to cook, and your best thing is to go out to eat every day, well, that's not sustainable. in any situation. The one that's not healthy for you too, like that costs so much more money.
But there's just so many options outside of me physically being in the kitchen.
No, I understand that.
Yeah.
But the thing is the idea of not being willing to. And that comes from both sides.
Yeah.
Because we all know how costly going out to eat is. We all know how, how unhealthy it is to just eat out every day. That's not sustainable for when you do have children. So it's like,
nor do you want to take them little monsters out to restaurants. We went out to eat today, and Lily just spazzed on the ketchup for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know. I ain't get that.
It was just a lot going on with her emotionally. I think it was because she was tired, but
could be.
You don't want to do that with kids.
And she's 2. So, but that's the thing. It's like the will to learn to do a skill is one thing, but for him to be like, oh, it's a requirement, but he can't do it either. I think that's just working backwards. But anyway, in this episode,
they said that he said he wasn't the leader, that this was a partnership.
Yeah.
Next thing I wrote down was about them going to go walk these alpacas.
Yeah.
What did he call them?
Not an alpaca.
I know he called them. He said llamas.
Llamas.
And it was something else he said.
He said that wrong.
Yeah, I know.
Llamas is wrong.
But he said something else too.
I don't know what it was.
Either way it goes. I'm like, you can't even commit to remembering the name of the animal that you walking.
Yeah. And even in that, man, it's like he said something that a lot of one bothers me, man. Just because it's like you put this girl through unrealistic tests for no reason. Like I understand you having your standards, but it's like she has standards too, and you never even asked that question. Most men like want to please their woman in a manner of, I want to make sure that she knows that I'm down for her. And I want that same feeling for her, because most of the time, if I'm doing for you, it's reciprocated. Oh, okay, he got my back, I got his type of deal. But I don't feel like that's the case for her.
She did mention with the alpacas that she wanted to do this because she wanted to be fearless like Elijah is. And I was like, I guess if you're going to take on something that you want to be like Elijah with, this is the thing, because there's not really...
It's not a lot that you want to be like Elijah.
Personality-wise.
Yeah, he's a lot. Gotta get to him.
He is definitely a lot. Oh, you were about to say something.
I was going to say about that picnic. And then I wrote down she wanted to have a deeper conversation with him. And he asked about her path with school. So we find out that she's in school.
She's got 2 years left.
I don't know if we knew that or not, but she's in school with 2 years left, and she wants to have children in 2 years. Now, she made a point he was like, well, how are you going to have kids and also be starting your career? And she made a point where career women can have children. You know?
But he said that like she does not have a job. Because they work for the same entity. They work for the state. So for both of them working for the state, I don't know what Katina's path is. A lot of people commit to finishing school because they want to see that through. Not because they want to make a career change or anything. They could just know that the progression of their path that they're taking will take them higher if they have a bachelor's degree behind their, like, as their credential.
Yeah.
I, again, not really sure what her goal is as far as school is concerned, but I don't think that it's fair to tell her that she can't do this because he doesn't want to be the one to have to pay for anything. And it's like, but he's the same person that says he looks at marriage in a very traditional sense. He wants to go out and make the money, and his wife should be able to keep the home, which is why he's on her about cooking and cleaning. But you don't want to take care of children that you make. it's like he's being so contradictory, and I can't understand. First off, not ready to be married. Let's just start there. But I can't understand.
Yeah, I believe. Yeah, you're right. You're right on that.
But I can't understand how you thought having kids that you claim to want to have, you're not going to be responsible for them in any way, shape, form, or fashion.
Like, I understood what he was saying by he made all these sacrifices for, like, as far as like saving money, paying off all this, buying this house, stuff like that, where like he was disrespectful. Like he just doesn't know how to talk to this girl.
So the reason that I don't understand, because you're saying you do understand it. Yeah. The reason that I don't understand it is because you're saying I made all these sacrifices for the last so many years of my life so that I would not have to sacrifice going forward. But you want children. What were you going to do with them?
Like, we ain't got that far yet.
No, that's what I'm saying. But like mentally, you're saying you want kids.
He hadn't thought about that.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Think about that, because it's contradicting what you just said. You're like, I want to go out and travel. Where are these kids gonna go?
Yeah, he hadn't thought about that. And but I do understand with him, it's like when he gets done, because his whole argument was not to have kids when you finish school. Don't be pregnant and walking across the stage was his whole idea and his whole premise about everything. And I get that part, because it's like, all right, if you are pregnant, walking across the stage, that cuts out a lot of celebration for them going forward, as far as like being able to just up and leave, being able to do this, being able to do that. But the part he didn't think about was what happens when you do have kids. You know, I don't think Elijah One mentally is prepared to be married.
I don't think he's prepared to be an adult.
No, I think he's like.
No, the way that he questions her life skills, I question his mental preparation and things.
His way of having conversations is terrible.
Awful.
But I think I don't think Married at First Sight is a good deal for him, just because it's so many requirements, right? Mm-hmm. I think people Steve is a perfect person to be on Married at First Sight. Kind of free, kind of this, kind of that, you know, type.
He's not very rigid.
Right. That's the word I'm looking for. But for Elijah One, it's like she has to hit so many boxes, and then he wants to travel. He wants to do this. He wants to do that, and never caring as far as like what she wants to do. But I just that conversation, it was like, come on, man. And her only response to it was, she can have a life and have a baby too, which, I mean, you can, but it's harder. I mean, it's not impossible. That's the thing.
It's not impossible. You definitely
have to have a determination to do the things that you want to. You have to have a plan. You can't kind of just be like, okay, I'm going to do this today and then tomorrow will be something. You know what I'm saying? You got to kind of plan it out. But
like, even with her saying, I'd like to have kids in 2 years, me, myself personally, I think when a person says something like that, they're thinking of the idea of, I can get pregnant in 2 years. Because if you look at the time that you actually are pregnant, like, to say that I'm going to have a baby in a year means that I need to be getting pregnant in the next few months, right? Mm-hmm. I don't think that that's what she meant.
Yeah.
And I think that one of the issues is he speaks first and doesn't ask questions. He doesn't get clarifying answers. He's just like, nope, not gonna work. Mm-hmm. You spit. I feel like it was a spit in the face for you to have a day nap, but there was no qualifying or clarifying questions being asked around that topic. Yeah. So,
I think he means well in a lot of the conversations he has, but it's just it's not presented well.
I don't even know if he means well. At this point,
I'm really just guessing with him. I just don't think he understands he thinks she's pretty. He thinks when they're good, they're good.
No, he thinks when he's good, they're good.
Yeah. And she doesn't speak up enough. And I think that's going to be the biggest downfall, because what happens when she gets tired of everything and she starts speaking up, you know?
Absolutely.
That's really all I got for you.
Yeah, Olajuwon is frustrating, and I wish that he would just calm down and listen to what Katina's saying, but also listen to himself, because he's not a very rational thinker.
Yeah.
And that's all I have for the two of them.
All right. Who's next?
I have Jasmina and Michael.
All right.
I feel sorry for Michael. Off was the very first sentence that I wrote. Michael was trying to gauge where they are in their relationship on that drive up to Vermont. And he's like, what would get you to say yes on decision day, right?
We talked about this a little bit, didn't we?
I think so, perhaps. And she gave this like not fake, this vague answer. Oh, this one he asked when the like on a scale of 1 to 10, right? Yeah. She gave a vague answer, and then he was like, okay, so where are we on a scale of 1 to 10? 1 means you hate me, 10 means everything is great. She's like, we're a 5. But she cannot give a clear, for lack of better words, we can't draw a line in the sand and be like, okay, when we cross this point, I trust you.
Yeah.
Because Michael is doing a lot of bending.
And she recognized it.
Now, finally.
To somebody.
Yes.
I don't know who she was talking about, but she was like, oh, he's definitely doing a lot.
I think it was when they were in the hot
tub. Look, I'm finna say in the pool.
But like at that moment, I was like, man, Michael, if this wasn't really what you wanted to do and be married, I'd just be like, bro, just leave it alone. Like, if you came to me with this, I would be like, I don't know what to tell you. He's like, be done. Because it's just, she doesn't give answers that feel like, I want to do this with you.
It's what I said to you the other day when we was watching it. It's an unrealistic metric that she's made up that he's never gonna know if he's hitting it or not.
Right.
And the issue comes in is that they have to make a decision.
Yeah.
And he's trying to make a decision for him based off of something to kind of like trying to gauge where she is. But he can't gauge it because there's no she doesn't really have a real answer for him on that gauge. It's, which I don't feel like you have a meter that says, oh, I trust you now. You know, I just feel like, hey, we go through something. I know what my partner is going to do in that situation.
And I have I trust you until I don't.
Yeah.
So maybe that's part of the issue of my lens of looking into it, because I did not have to make you work for me to trust you. We also had a very unconventional beginning to our relationship because we had years of knowing of each other's existence. So with that, there already was he didn't do anything in 10 years of me knowing him or 8 years of me knowing him that says he's not trustworthy.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to pick out okay, I'm going to only trust him this much. But Jasmina has trust issues. I get it. She also has abandonment issues. I get it. So she has to put up this tough exterior on those things. But I think that she's giving him these like little glimmers of hope here and there. And I don't know if she really means it or not. He don't know if she really means it or not. Because what is a 5? That says you don't know if you like me at all.
5 puts you in 5 basically reverses this conversation that they was having. It like puts us right there at the beginning.
I am sleeping in a home in a bed with you every night.
Like, and that's the thing.
We gotta be above a 5.
Right. And that's the thing. It's like you trust him enough to drive y'all up there.
Mm-hmm. Well, she wasn't gonna get there any other way. She can't drive.
Like if it was a choice of who you gonna ride with, you would pick Michael.
Mm-hmm.
So you trust him enough for that. It's like give him more than just a 5.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when he was talking to the fellas when they were cooking, he was saying like they started talking about a dip. I think Steve brought it up.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can dip a little bit because somebody was like everything needs to be perfect. He was like you can dip, and Mike was like nah, I can't dip.
Mm-hmm.
Like the dip would throw us, you know, would get us on out of there.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with Steve's logic on the conversation, but I also agree with Michael's. Steve was talking about in normal circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
Michael realizes that he ain't married to normal circumstances.
Mike realizes they got 2 weeks left and everything needs to go the way it should go or the way they want it to go in order for them to say yes.
Mm-hmm.
I think Michael is leaning more so towards yes, but he's still trying to gauge Jasmina on her yes. As what she was saying is that I don't know if she said Sparks wasn't there. This still wasn't there or something like that. But they were talking about more so in the hot tub was he's been doing everything he possibly could and hoping that Sparks can fly this over the weekend, which we saw them working really well together.
Mm-hmm.
They had the matching shirts and stuff. We tried to do stuff like that, but Artieka and
don't butt Artieka. I bought the shirts.
You didn't want to. What shirts did you buy?
The one, well, you probably bought them. But when we went to Disney, we got the Mr. and Mrs.
bought the shirt.
Disney
it was
shirts.
my idea.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I participate is what I'm saying.
Oh, my God. Yeah, like that's...
Don't I get a prize for that?
No, we don't give participation awards. No. But, you know, that like they led the game night and stuff, like the game day and night, you know, like a lot of stuff they're doing is like really cool and everything like that. And it's like you seeing the growth in them. The question is that enough? And
she called him a man when they was playing, but I was like, that's the first time that I have ever felt him be affirmed in this marriage.
Yeah, when they was playing dodgeball.
She was like, you hit my man. And then she ain't hit nobody with nothing. She was still holding her same ball.
I'm surprised nobody hit her. Anyway. But yeah, like it's like you're seeing them work really through some things, but it's like when he asks, I don't think he needs to ask those questions just because she can't give him any answers, but I know going into decision day, they want more of a guaranteed knowing what you're going to say versus being surprised. So I don't know what type of conversation he can have with her to get her to say yes. But whatever it is, he needs to have it within these next 2 weeks because I think that's what they got left. But yeah, it was cool to see them lead the game day. They went to the medium. First off, I didn't know what a medium was. I had to get my wife over here to.
Did I have to explain it to you?
We paused it and you explained it to me. It's funny that we watched it together this time. For once.
This season.
Yeah.
I don't think we've watched any episodes together this season.
No, we haven't.
Until this one. The medium was interesting. I felt like she kept trying to affirm the relationship for the two of them.
Yeah.
Or at least for Michael.
Yeah.
I don't know if it actually got anywhere. Who knows?
I felt like somebody told her these answers.
I don't know. I'm just saying the whole you guys will live a happy life together, like that stuff.
Yeah.
But that's just things that people say.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like that, those are the things that made me smile about the situation. When she was like, when the medium told Michael, you fell in love with her when you first saw her. And he was like, yeah, he didn't say he loved her, but he was like, yeah. For all intents and purposes, he was like, that was the girl.
She was cute enough.
What did he say? Wow.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, the medium saying that the medium knows that they're filming for Married at First Sight. So
yeah,
whatever with that.
I just felt like she was fed answers. That's
no. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The whatever with that, because I can't say that you did or didn't know because I wasn't there. But like, you know how people that don't know you be like, I love y'all together, and you be like,
I don't like him.
Why? Like you want to ask why, but you don't have a reason to ask why. Yeah. That's how I feel like he should have came at her, but whatever.
Nah, but you know, like for stuff like that to happen and for there not be any type of therapy, or you don't talk about it, or you're not able to talk about it, you know, and stuff like that. You have to talk to somebody about that. You know, it like you were explaining to me the difference between like his brother just abruptly being killed versus my grandmother being able to say bye.
Yeah. So one of the conversations that we had was about like, how do mediums know like who's trying to contact, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. And I was essentially saying that typically what I have heard, because I don't really know a lot about that world, but from what I've heard is it's usually someone who didn't get a message to you is trying to contact. So a brother who is killed abruptly while you are a child would be trying to actually get messages to you more so than a person who, like Tommy's grandmother, the week she passed away, she knew that she was going to pass away that week. She didn't know the day. It's wild to me that it literally came down to the day that the doctor said. Yeah. But she had conversations with all of her grandkids.
Yep. She talked to everybody.
Yeah. She had conversations with all of her grandchildren. And she basically, I don't want to say made peace, because I don't think that there was not peace in any of the relationships, but she said things to each person that would let them know that like there's no additional conversation needed between me and you.
Enough said.
Yeah, like it's all out there. And all of y'all except for one is an adult.
Yeah.
So it's like y'all didn't lose her at like 3 years old and she's trying to come back and be like, it's some money stashed in the attic or something like that.
It would have been crazy if I found some money up there.
You did go in the attic.
Yeah.
But like being able to make peace versus him not being able to tell his brother things just kind of says, hey, I'm trying to reach out in the spirit world. I don't really know how it all works. I remember I was supposed to actually go see a medium with your cousin, and I don't know what happened. It was some Groupon stuff, so it was. I already knew it was gonna be a little weird.
I thought it was cool that Jasmina set that up for Michael to like go through and talk about, because it did. Like, I guess it seems like Michael's more closed off than what we see, because Jasmina is the one that's not talking about things that bother her, like her abandonment things and what happened with her dad and her mom and stuff like that. Like, that's not being talked about in their relationship. And I find that to be weird on camera. Like,
because you would have to tell me, like, how do you feel that your mother did not want to have anything? We'd have to have conversations. Like, has your mom tried to reach out to you? Like, it's something about that I would have to get some answers on.
And so that's the thing. It's like, but Michael is so close. But we're not getting any type of answers from her because she seems to be cold. And in this episode, you see her like getting emotional when Michael is talking. And everything like that. So you see growth with them and being a actual couple, but is it enough for them to say, yes on decision day is the question. So
I don't know. I want to know what she revealing on that other side.
Yeah. Because, like, even with her, like, you know, they didn't sit in there and the medium only talked about.
Well, she said that they did talk to her as well, but that part was edited out because it's the storyline for them is Michael's not open, not Jasmina's not open.
Yeah.
So they had to figure
maybe
out
some illegal stuff she talks about in this that, you know, can't be. I don't know.
Don't do illegal things. You got anything else for them?
Nah, I don't.
Lindsay and Mark.
All right.
Who I have next. So
I'm sorry, guys. I just like did that all in your ear. My bad.
Lindsay and Mark were the first ones to get to the house.
At least I ain't burped. Yeah.
I've done that by mistake.
You be coughing and they be getting
irritated. I'm like, sorry, I have a frog in my throat and acid reflux from hell.
Yeah.
Lindsay wanted Mark to get out of bed, I guess the first morning that they was there. And he was like, no, I'm tired. And then he finally got up. They went outside. He called her hyper and she got pissed.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, of all the things that you've said about this man, hyper is what set you off.
Hyper is what set you off.
Girl, bye. You are hyper. Like, it's compared to him, you are absolutely hyper.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Mark is definitely like, I don't have to do all that.
Yeah.
And Lindsay's like, this is just who I am. And at 34 years old, Lindsay's got to stop with the this is just who I am.
Mm-hmm. I don't really have a lot to say about them just because I felt like Mark's fun in this whole retreat was like basically overshadowed from Lindsay and her like madness of him. Like
Jasmina said that they had a dance party after production left. He was DJing, like he likes NSYNC and the Backstreet Boys. Like we didn't get to see, I mean, granted, production was gone, but we don't get to see those types of fun Mark moments.
Like we don't get to see the shark.
Right.
We just see stressed out Mark. But no, it's like Lindsay had overtaken this whole episode because it's like she says, okay, Mark is always throwing jabs at her, you know, negative things at her and stuff like that. And him calling her hyper, like basically was the straw that broke the camel's back. And, you know, she's like you can do that. Like you can bring down the mood. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And she brought down the mood so much and he's trying to do this. The funniest thing about this whole episode with Mark and Lindsay was when they did the
sound thing,
the sound bath, and Mark went to sleep. Mm-hmm. I was like, Mark trying to get that nap out.
He did not get to finish his rest. And he was like, I'm going to rest here. This is peaceful.
Yeah.
She shut up.
Right.
He don't get that a lot in his life.
No, he don't.
And so, whew.
But they seem to be good all day. Like after he apologized for calling her, I think he apologized for calling her hyper. Mm-hmm. But that was like he didn't.
I think that was after the conversation that he had with Mike
downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because she talked to Elijah Wan.
Yeah.
And he talked to Mike.
I'm jumping around because it's like they played the game. I don't know what the name of this game. What was the name of the game?
Most Likely or something
like that. And basically, the funny part was they said Lindsay was most likely to start a fight. Mm-hmm.
Everybody said it because you have.
Right. And I think Steve brought it up. Is that why? So is it safe to say Lindsay started the fight with Elijah?
She tried to get like fussy with him and he was like, look.
He bowed out. He's like, I'm bowing out.
What we not gonna do is this, because that's another fight that you're about to start. Yeah. And all I'm doing is asking a question because I'm still lost about what happened.
He was actually just joking.
Right. But I'm saying he was just asking a question. And he's like, I didn't know the answer to the question.
I didn't know it was still
this right here proves the answer to the question.
But Lindsay got mad at that. Like, she got disturbed. She went into this whole... y'all ain't gonna, I don't care what y'all think about me and blah, this, blah, that. So ultimately, Lindsay lost this game. Mm-hmm. Lindsay is still in her feelings. Mm-hmm. So I guess they went outside and Mark had, like, he explained it when he was talking to Mike. I didn't write it down. But he basically was like, he went outside. She was fussing about the game, I guess. And she told him to F off. And so he did. Mm-hmm. And so when she came back in, she was like, oh, you want to be a part of production now? Boom, boom. And she was like, I'm done with it, and walked off from him. I was like, geez, Louise, this woman. Mark's just trying to have a good time at this cabin, man. And she's really bringing it down.
So I'm going to go back and then come back.
I'm sorry, man. I just started talking.
No. I know. That's fine. One of the things that I wanted to make sure I touched on was that in her confessional earlier in the episode after the hyper comment, she says that she stopped letting her mother into her life because of rude comments like that. And I was like, but I thought she told us in the beginning that her mom won't talk to her.
I don't remember.
Remember the I'm trying to re-jog your memory with the wedding.
Yeah.
Her mom did not come, and they were like, "Well, did you invite your mom?" And she was like, "Yeah, but she's not answering my calls right now." Mm-hmm. And it's like, did you stop letting your mama in, or did your mama stop fooling with you because this is how you act? Mm. That was like one of the key things that I paid attention to in that confessional.
Yeah.
But then coming back to where we are with where you just left off. When she talked to he talked to Michael, she talked to Elijah. She said that Elijah told her that she hurt Mark, and she didn't like that Elijah was taking up for Mark. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, it's here on a platter. Everybody sees it but you.
Yeah, because she was like, during the game, she was talking about Mark. Sex game.
She was like, she lies about it.
Yeah. And he was saying that you could tell that brought a change in his attitude, in the whole thing. So yeah, I remember that.
And then
how she don't see that?
It's on the dish.
like golly.
People are handing it to her saying, it's like a mirror. People are saying, here, Lindsay, look in this mirror. I want to show you what you have done wrong to Mark. And she's like, that's not me in that mirror.
Like, I don't think people, like, how do you go be in any type of relationship without thinking about the other person involved? Mm-hmm. Like, when you do group projects, and if you're part of the group, the first thought you have is, did I do my part? Now let me see if anybody else
needs help.
Right. You check yourself first, and then you make sure the group is good.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I don't understand what these self-absorbed people, like, how do you don't get past yourself?
So after the Elijah telling her that she hurt Mark and she didn't like it, she then tells Mark that his life is falling apart. And he's like, no, it's not. And I'm like, I think that Mark's life is very circumstantial. Mm-hmm. Because to say that his life is falling apart because he has to take care of his mother, he was doing that before he met you.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a job right now. He doesn't have that job because he's taking off too much time to film this show to be married to you. Mm-hmm. That was the decision that he made, but still, the only other option would be is film less or work less. Mm-hmm. obviously the workless part's not working for him. So he's looking for something else that's going to work around that schedule. And then the other thing that she was saying was the eviction. Well, that happened before you too. Mm-hmm. He knew about that going into Puerto Rico. He was just like, I got time. Which obviously he did have time, because when he came back home, all his stuff was still there and it wasn't on the street.
Right.
So
right.
I think that the only layer that has been added to his life since he met her was losing his job. Yeah. All this other stuff was stuff that he was dealing with prior to. Doesn't really matter how much prior to the wedding, but it was prior to the wedding. And her saying that I help him with this, if it's so much of an emotional toll on you, stop.
Right.
He did not ask you to take care of his mom. He didn't ask you to... I mean, you came over to the house with him to help him pull out stuff out of the house. And then when you started breaking stuff, he was like, go, leave now. Bye.
Right. Like the intention, like you have good intentions, but your follow through is terrible, because you're like the person that gives a person $1 and then takes an Instagram photo to say, hey, I gave some money.
I gave this homeless person some money.
Yeah. Like when I do stuff like that, I tell you, but that's about as far as it goes. Mm-hmm. You know, because I don't think of it as a good deed. I just think of it as if I was in that same position, I would want somebody to help me.
Mm-hmm. You would think that, but
yeah.
So after that was all said and done, the next morning they wake up. Lindsay doesn't feel good. She can't keep anything down, so he has to drive her to urgent care, which apparently they were in the woods, so it took them a while to find an urgent care. But that's all I had for the two of them. Did you have anything else?
Nah, that's it.
And the last but not least,
rounding it out
with Noy and Steve. So Noy and Steve argue on the way to Vermont about her social media. Then she was like, I don't want to talk about it in front of the others. And Steve was like, great. So I'm going to semi-bring it up in front of the other people, because this is what you do to me on social media.
Steve had a valuable point. Mm-hmm. Like, there's no, I'm going to let you say the point, but there's no, like, rebuttal to what Steve said at all.
You can't say to me, hey, it's my social media. I can write what I want. And then when he gets around people, you're like, that's off limits.
People that they know.
That's off limits. And he was like, oh, it's off limits. Let me tell you why it's the exact same thing. Because the only difference is we're just surrounded by people we know right now. And you're telling people I don't know who are going to watch this and figure out things about me.
Mm-hmm. And I don't think it's the idea that she posts things about their relationship, right? And she swears up and down it's not all of it is about him, but some of it is.
She be lying.
But it's like the idea of you don't tell a person everything that goes on in your home, right? Mm-hmm. Because how me and you can get over something, that person probably can't, and won't see the other person outside of more than what that bad thing that person did.
I have been grateful in that when my friends get mad at their significant others, they're still very level-headed, even in the anger of, I'm going to tell you this, but I'm not going to tell you anything that's going to make you hate him or hate her. Like, it's just, I'm sick of this right now. And then they're done after that. Like, oh, no, we cool. We going to the Bahamas next month. Like that. Where were we? Oh, Noy felt ambushed about Steve bringing up her social media emotions. So they do go to, I think what Married at First Sight called it was an adventure park. And then Steve doubled down on a social media argument at the adventure park. He was like, after we have all this fun, Steve's like, you know, you got me messed up, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, no, but it's like, messed up.
I don't get how she don't see it though. Like it's a thing of you want him to bend for you, but you can't bend for him. And it's not that he's trying to control your social media. He's just saying, hey, when you post things about y'all in a negative light.
Don't post subliminals about me.
Right.
That's literally all he's asking.
Right. And if you have an issue with him, like the grown up thing to do or the married thing to do is to come to him. Steve is the perfect person for this whole experience. You have a beef with him about his job. You still haven't had the right conversation with him.
And let's get into that.
She didn't bring it up, so we don't need to.
No. She did bring up that she wants to be a stay-at-home mom.
Oh my God. Like, why not say that to him?
So the problem with that I have is a couple of episodes ago, they had the conversation about, what it looks like for him to get a job. And he said to her, I want to have the flexibility to do the things that I want to do. Can't always have that flexibility with a job. Cool. I understand that. He then says, what if you want to take some time off work? That's very possible for that to happen too. We just have to talk about it so that we can plan for it. She's like, no, I would never want to do that.
Yeah.
Fast forward a week, because it's only like a week's difference in that episode and this episode. Yeah. In real time for them. And she's like, I just want to stay at home with my 3 kids that I want to start having next year.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he literally had the conversation of, what do you want to do?
But see, even in that, her just springing, because I felt like that was a spring. It basically, it makes it clear on why Steve having a job
is important to her.
Outside, because we thought it was because of her upbringing. It's
that's the lie she's been telling.
Yeah, no, it's because she wants to be a stay-at-home mom, which if it works for you guys, that's fine. But that's not something you spring on a person. That's something you guys both agree to, and you work it out the way that you work. Like the thing about, I guess from my standpoint of somebody wanting to be a stay-at-home mom, and don't get offended, is you just don't want to work. Like I would rather take the stay-at-home mom place and make sure the house is, that's your job. Okay, if you're going to be here, the house needs to be clean. The things need to be in order. Food needs to be cooked. Like that's the traditional, like if you're going to stay at home, be at home. Okay, that's cool. But make sure things are done. I shouldn't have to get off of work and still have to come in here and clean.
But I think that's also his argument.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that was his whole argument, because she doesn't do anything. And they're arguing the same thing, but she's not being open enough to talk to him about, hey, this is what I want to get to when we do have children. And for him, it's like, how do I know I go to work all this time away from the home? When I come home, I have to cook, clean, and pick up, and I have no time with the kids.
I think that what really happened was Noy talked to him about what he previously did. And being a person who is in talent acquisition, she started doing research. And she was like, oh, you used to work where?
Yeah. Yeah, she seen
the starting salary for there is how much? She seen the
value.
Oh, so you can go back to doing that? Like, you weren't fired. You were just given a severance package because of COVID. Like, there wasn't work for you to do. Oh, so you can make this much money? You need to get out here and work. Because you could... She, coming from a poor family, has probably never experienced that much money in a household at one time. And if he can go out and make that much money, because he said that he saved over $40,000. I don't know what his severance package looked like. I don't know what his salary actually looked like. But if she's looking at it like he could have saved this much money, he's got the earning potential. He needs to go work. Because when I get ready to divorce him, there's going to be money for me.
I don't think it went that far, but
I mean, that's what it is, though.
I don't know. I can't call it because I didn't think that far. But I just, it's I don't think Noy's ready mentally to be in a relation or to be married because it's things that Noy is still trying to deal with. And like, she still needs to grow up, even though she's 33?
Something like that.
She's still,
the only person that I know their age is Lindsay, and that's because I was like, she's a 34 lie.
Yeah. Like I think Noy is 33, but she's just not like grown up enough, I guess. And true, she said this was like, where did I hear this? This was her first like apartment.
She said it.
In the episode?
When they were in the car driving back home, I believe, she said that she got this studio apartment because it was the first time that she had ever lived alone. She had lived with boyfriends. Of course, she had lived with her family, but this was the first time that she had lived alone. And that's why she's nervous about moving in with him, because she would be giving up her own version of stability. Yeah. Because in the past, she breaks up with a guy. He could be like, get out. Yeah. But nobody can put her out of her studio apartment.
And she's having an issue with that. And I'm like, man, for you to say that you're ready for marriage, you have to be open to everything, and you have to be willing to have those tough conversations and be, treat people nice. He asked you to do one thing, and that's not posting. You're thinking, you're like, I draw the line there. Like, I just don't understand it, man. Like, if you're really trying to get to know a person, you're not going to post the negative things anyway. You're going to keep those negative things to yourself and deal with it in your relationship. And if you can't deal with it in your relationship, then on decision day, you need to say no. Most times people, before they get married, they deal with those things. And if they can't get past them, they break up. But they never get married. But because you guys are like already married, you have an out, which is decision day. Like, you have to use your time wisely. Like, I think Jasmina and Michael failed at using their time wisely. Now everything's in hyperdrive. But I also think Noy and Steve, I think Steve has used his time, but I don't think Noy has used her time wisely to really be able to figure out everything she needed to do to make a valuable decision.
At this point, everybody just needs to say no.
No, I still think Jasmine and Michael should say yes.
I'm tired of all of them.
And make it through. I look forward to the next episode, though.
I don't even remember what's happening on the next episode from the preview. Yeah, I was happy to see the laughter of this episode with Flip Cup and Dodgeball and Kickball. And Jasmina saying, you hit my man. And Katina having to go out and she failed dramatically. Like, it's nice to see the enjoyment of those activities. But you want it to continue into their relationships and not just when they're getting together for a retreat. And at this point, it's going to have to be a lot more bending in most of these relationships. Yeah. I think that, unfortunately, Katina and Elijah are going to say yes to each other. And Katina needs to reevaluate why.
I agree. Yes. I agree with you on that.
She's going to say yes. I think she needs to reevaluate her why. I think Jasmina needs to go and get some counseling for her abandonment issues. I think that that's what it is with Michael, is that he says things very directly.
Mm-hmm.
And she hasn't been in a position where a man does that.
Yeah.
Because when her dad left, I don't know how long it took her stepmama to find a new husband, but getting to this man that's at the house, he like, just shut up, don't argue with him.
Right.
Because you see that she's putting herself in a position to not be talked to or not be, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't even want to say corrected, but not have a differing opinion.
Yeah.
I don't know a better way to say that.
Yeah, I don't either.
But yeah, and then Lindsay just got to stop drinking.
Yeah. I don't even think she was drunk this time.
She was pouring Prosecco when she got mad about everybody saying she was most likely to start a fight.
Oh.
So she had a miniature bottle of it.
I knew it was going to be a bad weekend for Mark from the first time they sat down to eat where Steve prepared the meal. She told them horrible jokes and couldn't stop laughing. And
everybody was
looking at her like, are you okay? Mark is just embarrassed.
Poor Mark.
Anyway, that's all I got.
People keep telling us Mark works at Chick-fil-A, and I'm like, how y'all know this?
That's what they heard.
Anywho, do you have anything else?
Nope.
Do you have a question for this week? Because I do not.
I was gonna. It's something about Noy's and her social media. Like,
why is Noy so annoying?
Right. Yes. Golly, is Steve wrong for bringing it up the way he does? Like, is this Steve's end all? Yeah.
Yes, he hammered in. Like, he doubled down like, several times.
Right. This is like been like, okay. You know, I think Noy is completely wrong with the social media. I think there's a way to continue to post and not post subliminal messages that are about your husband. Or even if you want to say that stuff and be like, I don't think anything that she's posted that they've put on the show has been an inspirational post, because if you look at the post that they put on there, it's always a picture and then words are there and stuff like that. You see those, you be like, I bet I can do this.
If God brings you to it, he'll bring you through
right,
it.
Right, exactly. Stuff like that. They're like, all right, yeah.
And she'd be like, you deserve better.
Right. Like, what type of inspirational person you trying to be? Anyway, just leave a comment below, man. Just say something nice, I guess.
Again,
what did it say? Work hard and be nice to people.
Sounds like what does what say? But I forgot about the
slogan up there.
Yeah, let that lamp down. Anywho, if you guys haven't, subscribe to the channel, turn on notification bell, comment down below, and also share this video with a friend who watches or doesn't watch Married at First Sight.
Yeah.
You just want to talk to them about the topics.
Right. And, I didn't tell you this, but I'm going to answer questions in the comment this week. Usually Artieka is responding.
Artieka has been failing miserably.
Usually Artieka responds to comments, but I'm going to respond to comments this week only. So leave a comment so we have a conversation.
Yeah, please converse with him. He needs it.
I need it.
That's it.
Yep.
All right. Bye, y'all.
All right. Peace.